I'd like to open the Township of Hamilton Committee meeting for Tuesday, February 20th, 2024. Please stand for the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law by posting a notice of this meeting on the bulletin board in the municipal building and by publication in the press of Atlantic City and Star Ledger on January 6th and January 7th, 2024. Mr. Cheek? Here. Mr. Laws?
Here.
Mr. Patali?
Here.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Here.
Mayor Schenker?
Here. Can we have a moment of silence for private reflection? Thank you. Addition, deletion, late agenda items to be considered for action tonight. We have an addition and a deletion. The addition is number 12, an executive session for the Municipal Housing Liaison vacancy. It's a personnel matter. Deletions, 3A, discussion of the same Municipal Housing Liaison vacancy.
Make a motion to approve the late list.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions, concerns? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Early public comment on agenda items, excluding items listed for public hearings.
We have no one signed up, Mayor.
Okay. Discussions, formal action may be taken. Item B, Columbia Care New Jersey LLC, the cannabis for medical marijuana facility with an accessory Class 5 retail cannabis use of Block 1134, Lot 14. So first, we would have to talk about authorizing a drafting of a site-specific redevelopment plan.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to recuse myself.
Okay. Ms. Givens?
Good evening. Emily Givens, Redevelopment Council for the Township. We met on January 9th, the Redevelopment Subcommittee, with Columbia Care, who is now trading as the Cannabist. Columbia Care was a little bit misleading to consumers, and so the Cannabist kind of gives their name gives a better description of what they actually do. And they found that to be more effective than Columbia Care. So they coming into the township, any facility would have that branding, the Cannabist, as opposed to Columbia Care. They currently have a location within the township that cannot get NJDOT access permit approval. So they're not able to utilize the site for the purposes for which it was built. They are under a redevelopment agreement, and they came to the committee with a proposal to locate in the Lomax building. And the redevelopment subcommittee found the proposal to be very positive and would be a very positive for the township as a whole to have this facility that's been empty for over 10 years be utilized in a productive way. Again, we already have a redevelopment agreement with the group for the medical licensing. Committee had discussed also allowing recreational use as well. The idea here would be that the medical use would be first and foremost, and without that medical use, a retail operation would not be permitted to locate here. We would work with the township's engineer and planner with regard to developing standards within a redevelopment plan, but this particular facility would require a specific redevelopment plan to allow for a medical and recreational use at this location. And again, the redevelopment subcommittee, when we met on January 9th, was very impressed by the presentation. So we wanted to take it to the full committee to get your authorization to proceed with drafting a redevelopment plan that would allow for the medical and recreational use together, medical being foremost. And then we would work with the engineer, planner, administrator to develop the standards that are necessary, lighting, security. Security will be 24/7 cameras, improvements to the parking area, just to ensure that the site is in fact safe and up to the standards that the township would like to see there.
So, just so everybody realizes, they already had a redevelopment plan with us for the other site, so this is basically the process that would need to be done to move them or allow them to this other site, correct?
Correct, and they would also have to, they are permitted under the state licensing to transfer from one site within the township to another. So they have to submit for that to the town, but that
It's
is
not the whole
something that's
process, is it?
permissible.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Committee?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
When I was looking at the packet, I saw it, as you stated, it was at Lomax.
Yes.
So is the building connected
Yes, it is.
to that? Now, would our ordinance have to be amended? Because I was under the impression
You would be correct.
that it would have to be amended. It could not be connected.
So that's why I'm asking for permission based off of the recommendation of the redevelopment subcommittee to draft a site-specific redevelopment plan that addresses that issue, but only because this is a medical and recreational use combined, not simply just recreational use. So that would be addressed in this new redevelopment plan that would permit this location that is not a standalone structure on a separate pad site to be utilized for this particular use. And it's the type of use that is adjacent to it, the fact that it's been vacant for over 10 years, and that it will improve the condition of the area, truly what redevelopment is supposed to be for, to ensure that the goals of the township are met in terms of revitalizing the area, bringing in an economic benefit, and also bringing in other security benefits to the entire facility.
So do we have to amend the ordinance? Or are you telling us to do something totally separate from the
Separate
ordinance?
from amending that ordinance, it will be specific to this site, which you are permitted to do under the redevelopment law, is adopt a plan that is specific to this location and only this location, which is what we did for the other location that they have. It's what we did for Mod Wash recently. It was done for CarMax. We adopted a zoning plan, redevelopment plan, specific to that particular project in that location.
And I'm specifically talking about cannabis.
Correct, yes.
Right, that's,
So we would not have to amend the overall cannabis ordinance, but we would adopt a specific plan that takes the place where it conflicts. It would supersede that other plan. It would allow for the medical and the recreational in this location. It would still be a conditional use. They would have to meet all of the conditions that are drafted into the plan and that the committee adopts, but it would be specific to this site, and it would not be utilized anywhere else in the township.
so would this set a precedence for other people that want to come in with cannabis?
Well, this is specific to the medical licensing along with, and it would only set a precedent if that's what committee wanted. It's not a requirement to, just because you adopt it for this particular location, for this particular applicant, that you would have to then adopt it for, because each case is looked at for the particular facts and circumstances of the case. This location, according to the presentation and the feeling of the entire redevelopment subcommittee, which consists of engineer, planner, administrator, 2 committee members, and zoning and planning members, that this is a good location for this particular use, the medical and the retail.
I'm not disagreeing that it's a good location. My concern was that the way the ordinance was written, what it says. So basically, we have to ignore that and rewrite something else separately.
So we are going to incorporate the requirements that are specific to licensing, enforcement. All of that will be the same for this particular location. It's just that for this location, we are going to draft a site-specific plan that allows this use here in this location.
Okay, so That's what we would do tonight.
You would authorize the drafting of that plan.
Of a new
And then it
plan.
would come back to you, and you would review it, read it, ask questions about it. If you're happy with the content and the way it's going to work, then you would refer that to the planning board, and the planning board would take a look at that and make sure that it's consistent with the goals and objectives of your master plan. Then it would come back to committee for a full public hearing and adoption.
Okay, thank you.
Does this particular use impede any of the other businesses? Are we going to hurt any of the other businesses in that general vicinity? Do we have any information on that? Has anybody?
So we did discuss that at the subcommittee to ensure that there were no restrictions on any of the other leases within that area, and the cannabis was looking into that. They did not believe so. The realtor who is working with them and is familiar with the other businesses in the site indicated that there was no concern with that. There were no restrictions on that.
Okay. All right, because there's a McDonald's, like, right? Okay, all right.
And again, for cannabis uses, for any of the retails, consumption is not permitted on site.
Sure.
You have to, you come
Very aware.
and you have to go. So with regard to an impact on other uses, there's no loitering, there's no hanging out, there's no using in the parking lot, there's none of that.
I was just more concerned with the other businesses having something to say about it. I was, like, I know, you're right. I mean, it's.
I just think for,
very
for
safe,
the
very
public too,
secure.
though, I want to
Very much
understand
aware of that,
what
yeah.
the restrictions are
Sure.
for that entity, and they are monitored 24/7, and so they do have to do reporting.
Mm-hmm.
And if that is a concern, I'm sure that, someone from McDonald's would probably voice that to us.
Okay.
But the realtor, again, was present at the meeting and said that he had had discussions. And we can confirm that before we move
No, it's fine. I just
finally
don't want
forward.
somebody to.
So just like every cannabis location, their licenses are renewed yearly.
Yearly.
Do not have to renew them. So I think they're going to make sure that things are done right. It's very important to them. The other thing I want to mention to Dr. Witherspoon's point, this is kind of a unique place because while technically they are not, it's not a standalone building, that building was built at a different time than the Lomax building or the Toys R Us. So Toys R Us was built, then they built the other building for Office Depot. And simply the fact that they don't, because they share a common wall, is because is the reason they're considered the same building. They could put a wall down the one side of the building and then they would technically be considered two buildings. But that's at the cost of about $600,000. So this is one of the reasons why, and as you mentioned, many of the other businesses that have come in recently, it's one of the reasons why redevelopment is so important, because there are, with certain developments, different little hurdles that we have to get past, and you have to look at what's best for the overall picture. The things that are put into the ordinance is so we have that control to say, no, we don't want to do it for this particular piece of property because it just doesn't work. So I just wanted to make it clear that this, though it's technically not a separate building, it kind of is, but that's, the rules are the rules. Anybody else have any questions, comments?
So it's not a separate building.
No, and technically, no. No. They were built at a separate time, though.
But if we create something tonight, we're giving them permission to use, are they going to buy that building? Or are they renting?
They would,
I
yeah, they
think
would lease it.
But I think tonight we're only,
Authorizing us to draft the
authorizing
plan.
to draft the plan for it, so we don't.
Yeah, come up with the rules,
right.
yeah.
More design, criteria, everything that you guys will want to see
Sure.
before it goes to the next thing.
Sure.
That's all tonight is.
Okay.
All right.
No approval.
And then the next, not to jump ahead, but the next thing is to amend the escrow agreement, which they already have, but it has to be specific to this location. So basically, we're just doing we would be moving everything over to a new location.
Correct.
From the previous location to this location.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
this would be just for the planning portion of it, not approval of it, but the planning portion.
Planning.
Right, we're
Yes.
approving the plan, done
Okay.
to put together a plan.
Okay, committee? Do we have a resolution, Jane?
You have two resolutions, Mr. Mayor.
Do you want to entertain a resolution, or
I'll-
what's your pleasure?
I'll make the motion to entertain the resolution.
Could you read the resolution, please? So everybody understands.
This would be, the first resolution would be for the site-specific redevelopment plan. Be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Hamilton to authorize the redevelopment attorney to draft a site-specific redevelopment plan for Columbia Care, New Jersey LLC, doing business as the Cannabis, Block 1134, Lot 14. That's the first resolution.
I'll make the motion, but there's no way I'm going to remember all that.
We have a
I'll
motion,
second.
we have a second. Are there any questions or comments? Can we do a roll call vote on this, please?
Mr. Laws,
Yes.
Mr. Patali,
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon,
Yes.
Mayor Schenker.
I'm going to abstain,
Abstain, okay. All right, so 3
personal
yes.
reasons.
3 yes, motion carries.
He smokes.
Then we have a resolution authorizing redevelopment attorney to draft an amended escrow agreement. Columbia Care, New Jersey LLC, or the Cannabis. And I'll move that.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second authorizing drafting amendment escrow agreement. You want to read that prior to voting?
Sure.
Can you read that real quick, Jane?
Be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Hamilton to authorize the redevelopment attorney to draft an amended escrow agreement for Columbia Care, New Jersey LLC, doing business as the Cannabis, Block 1134, Lot 14.
Any questions? Hearing none, could you do a roll call, please?
Mr. Laws,
Yes.
Mr. Patali,
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon,
Yes.
Mayor Schenker.
Abstain.
Okay, 3 yes, motion
Thank you,
carries.
everyone. We'll move on to C, Pleasant Valley Farm, request for farmland preservation designation, block 1132.01, lots 4, 7.01, and 8. Brett, would you give us a, oh, I'm sorry. I apologize, Rich, I moved on to C, and
We
Yeah.
almost forgot about you.
we're down here on number 6 now.
Let's go right to
I just announced what C was, Pleasant Valley's request for farmland preservation designation. Brett, could you give everybody a little background on this?
That's exactly what this is. The property owner at Pleasant Valley Farm, which is located right behind Walmart, across Route 40, is seeking a farmland assessment of his property in the growth zone. We sent this over to the planning board for their review, and it seems as though they agree with the request and see no inconsistencies with the master plan.
Okay,
The applicant is looking for a letter of support from the township for his
Okay.
proposal to the county agricultural board.
I believe they've already gotten county support.
I believe so, yes.
All right. So are we the last? And then it would go to the state?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Committee?
So basically, they just wants this property just for farm.
Been a farm for
For 100
forever,
years,
right?
100
Yeah.
years.
Around 100 years.
Yeah, they just want to make sure it stays that way.
Stays
long
that way.
after. Mhm.
In doing this, this precludes, like, years and years from now after they're, gone, that we'll still not be able to build anything else there. Is
Deed
that-
it deed
Yeah.
restricts the property.
Yes.
Farming.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion, we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Concerns? Jane, can we do a roll call vote on this, please?
We can, yes. Is this a straight motion, or are we doing a resolution here?
Do you have a resolution?
We do not have them prepared. I understood it was just a discussion.
Yeah, this is just, us.
Yeah, it's just to draft a
Just draft
letter,
a
so we
letter,
can just
yeah.
do a motion, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, let's just do a motion.
Okay, very good, thank you. Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Laws?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
All yes.
Thank you. Number 4, public hearing, adoption of ordinances. A, ordinance 2068, 2024, an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits to establish a capped bank in accordance with NJSA 40A 4-45.14. This is a public hearing. Anybody, actually, before we do that, do you just want to, real quick, I know we went over this before. There might be somebody new here, you never know.
So the budget law requires to exceed the appropriation cap limitations when you're exceeding beyond the 2.5%, which is allowable by law, to increase it another 1% to 3.5%. And this doesn't put you on the hook to raise taxes in any way. It just gives you the bandwidth in the event that we have an appropriation that could exceed the cap and we don't have a revenue to support it. It doesn't have anything to do, we could have a money tree with revenues. And we're not permitted to increase our appropriations beyond that 3.5% with this COLA ordinance.
Okay.
And it also allows to bank 2 years of those limitations.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. This is a public hearing. Anybody in the public like to speak?
Move to close public.
A motion and a second to close public portion. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. I'll entertain a motion to adopt this ordinance.
So moved.
A motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2068, 2024. Are there any questions, concerns? Roll call, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Laws?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
All yes.
Thank you. B, ordinance 2069-2024, bond ordinance of the Township of Hamilton in the County of Atlantic, State of New Jersey, amending and supplementing the bond ordinance 2034-2023, reconstruction of the Township fueling station. Finally adopted by the Township on 3/20/2023 to increase the appropriation therein by $200,000 and to increase authorization of bonds or notes by $190,476.
Now, does that allow township committee persons to get gas there too?
No, it does not allow that, Bobby, but thank you for the idea. Brilliant idea, by the way.
Deputy Mayor.
All right.
This is a public hearing. Anybody in the public like to speak?
Move to close public.
We have a motion to close the public portion. We have a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? The ayes have it.
Make a motion to move ordinance 2069-2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 2069, 2024. Are there any questions or comments?
Just one question. Is this going to be the only increase?
I hope so.
All right, that's it.
Jane?
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Laws?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
All yes.
Introduction of ordinances. Public hearing will be held on March 4, 2024. Excuse me. And ordinance 2070, 2024, an ordinance amending Chapter 258 of the Code of Township of Hamilton, penalties for littering and illegal dumping. So this is the ordinance we introduced last meeting that is going to fine people, and we did establish that this is both public and private property, correct? Okay. Committee, any questions?
So when you say private property, how does a person illegally dump on somebody's property?
On their own property.
Brett, would you like to?
It's
Feel
like
that?
any other illegal dumping. They don't, illegal dumpers don't know if it's public or private. There's a good chance that if they're trying to throw a couch out of the back of their pickup truck, it could land in somebody's private residence. And this just gives us the ability to find the person if we catch them.
I mean, I can see if the lot was empty, but a house,
I've
somebody
seen
gonna
it.
come
I've
up there
seen
and
it
drop a
happen.
couch on your property.
But it-
I've seen it
But
happen.
even empty lots, like out in, the Weymouth section, the Mizpah section of the township,
Okay,
empty lots, people own empty lots out there, and typically they get filled up with trash. It's just like our property out.
Prob-
Brett, so that I'm not reading more into this, does that preclude one from dumping something on their own property? It's private,
That's more of a code enforcement
Okay.
issue.
so that has nothing to do with this.
The other thing that this does is it establishes a fine schedule for littering, a heightened fine schedule for littering. Ken, I think you raised that from up to, what it was, $100 up to $2,000?
Yes, it increases the violation of the ordinance for littering. There's some other parts under that section, for example, overflowing trash cans or tires or other violations, and it does reinstate the violation from $100 minimum up to $2,000. But the enhanced violations are for the illegal dumping, which goes from $2,500 to the much larger penalty to deter that type of action.
Okay.
So let me ask this question, because this is something that happens. Out at Leapy, and even at Underhill, those trash cans get, pretty full sometimes. Birds come in, they picking stuff up, they litter it around. Will this, will this open up a door for people to be fined for, stuff that they have no control over in that respect?
I don't. No, you couldn't get a fine for littering.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that doesn't become an issue.
Not for an overflowing trash can, but if you throw a bottle on
Oh,
the
no, if you
ground,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Ken's driving down the street and throws a tissue out the window, he's getting fried.
For the record, I would never do that during public session.
Just wanted to make an example, just.
Okay.
Thank you.
What's your pleasure, committee?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for ordinance 2070, 2024, public hearing to be held March 4th. You want to do a roll call for this?
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Laws?
Yes.
Mr. Patali?
I just want to also say that there's up to a $1,000 reward for illegal dumping. So just letting people know, keep an eye out, and you could make a few shekels.
Is that a yes?
Yes, that's a yes.
Starting a riot in here, they're gonna go crazy.
My God. Don't throw a gum wrapper out your window.
Illegal dumping, not just littering, although I believe there is a fine for littering also, so.
I'm gonna put a camera right on my dash, we're gonna catch everybody.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Your vote?
Yes,
You're a yes?
I'm a yes.
Doctor.
I'm a yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I thought I said yes.
I thought you did.
You did.
Dr. Witherspoon?
yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Aye. Number 6, awards, bids, contracts, and change orders. A resolution awarding a contract to VSP Vision Care to provide vision insurance coverage for a 2-year period from 3/1/24 to 2/28/26. Cost not to exceed $18,000.
Motion.
Second.
It's a lot of glasses.
Have a motion second. Are there any questions, concerns?
I see on here that we have to sign this, that we have to sign this on, like a disclosure. Page 3, saying that we didn't, get a campaign contribution?
That's because the contract's over 17.5.
Right, I just wanted to make sure that everybody saw that, and we have to sign it, right?
They have to sign it, that they didn't contribute.
Oh, they have to sign
Just
it.
for
They
that.
didn't contribute over,
Okay,
because it's over 17.5.
all right, that's one, I just wanted to make sure. All right.
Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Cheek?
Yes.
Mr. Laws?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes,
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Number 7, consent agenda, which is a lot of coin drops.
A
So
lot of coin.
keep your dollar bills handy. What's your pleasure, committee?
A through H.
right, because I want to discuss that.
Okay. We have a motion for A through H. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Let's talk about I. Resolution supporting the United States Department of Transportation proposal requiring that railroads maintain accurate electronic information about rail hazmat shippings in a train. Mayor Patel?
I just wanted I know Dr. Witherspoon also wanted to pull this out. Want to can you give us a little bit of background on this, Brett? I know this was brought up by,
This was requested by the
River Council.
Council, Fred Akers. He's looking for resolution of support to the US DOT for increased notification if there's a derailment of a train that is hauling hazmat materials, specifically at locations that cross the Great Egg Harbor River. That's what his concern was. This is just a resolution of support to that cause. There's been quite a few, if you follow the news over the last couple of years, in Ohio, there was a train that derailed and contaminated one of their largest rivers, and there was mass evacuations and things like that downstream. And this is just putting in place more of a proactive alert system for the rail lines.
It's not specifically a railroad, but like a crossing where the,
It's the
Train would go
railroad
over.
crossings, so most of these are for freight trains, not necessarily for passengers.
I think what I was trying to do was imagine in my mind where the railroad, this is like 23 of them in Hamilton Township. That's according to this resolution.
They're just crossings.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I was trying
Well,
to.
Actually, most of the crossings are outside of the township.
Okay.
There is one or two that are real close to the border near Buna, in Egg Harbor Township. But again, he's probably seeking support from all the neighboring municipalities for
I
this.
understand, but it wasn't specifically Hamilton Township.
No, it's-
That's something.
No, any crossings that it would affect the Great Egg Harbor watershed.
All right, thank you.
What's your pleasure, committee?
I'll make the motion to adopt the resolution supporting U.S. Department of Transportation proposal requiring the railroads to maintain accurate electronic information about rail hazmat shipments in a train.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any more questions or concerns?
Just one question. Now, how would we're supporting this. I don't have no problem with it. But how would this information, who would be responsible for getting this information?
I'm sure it would go to,
The railroad
emergencies.
companies.
railroad.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
they
emer-
wanna
yeah,
require-
railroad companies are responsible to
Right.
give that information out.
Exactly.
So we would, once we do this, pass
It would
this
go to
resolution.
emergency management.
Emergency management. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Personnel, a resolution appointing Christina Lizitsky as qualified purchasing agent for the Township of Hamilton effective 1/1/2024 until a successor is named.
Can I ask a question? I have no problem with this. Well, you say until a successor is named. Are we looking for anyone else?
No, that's just the language that we have to put in there for the QPA
Okay,
appointment.
that's fine. Thank you.
They always put that in there to mess us up.
I never saw that. But
I'll move 8A.
second.
Motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. 9, approvals, minutes, regular meeting minutes of February 5th, 2024.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from February 5th, 2024.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. B, bills. Bill list total, $1,669,782.49.
Yeah, that was pretty fat.
Motion.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are any questions or comments?
Question. Page 3. Purchase order 24-00010. The Atlantic County Treasurer for the Central Municipal Court. I know that we had, as a township, done a resolution to go to Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that the judge rejected it, which I didn't know that that was a part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that there was an appeal that was done. Where are they with the appeal?
I don't believe there was an appeal, was there?
Hamilton.
It's still, from my understanding in the ongoing discussion, it's still under the discretion of the assignment judge and the AOC. So it's my understanding that they're still reviewing that aspect of it and the resolution that was passed. So it's my understanding there's not an official rejection as of now. It's still under review, but there is no pending appeal anymore.
So Hamilton, the lawyers from Hamilton did not appeal that decision from the judge.
I'm not aware of any filed appeal.
So that means we're still locked in with the county.
Yes, we are still
Yes.
counting at the moment.
I mean, I don't agree with the judge's decision, but I'm not the judge either. I didn't agree with that decision because we done it in enough time, and we would have saved the taxpayers a lot of money. It would have saved us a lot of money, just for the record. I just had to say that. Of course, people. I mean, things happen, and it's out of our control. I just never knew that the judge had to make the decision after the township had voted. That's what I didn't understand. I didn't know that.
The discretion to allow the formation of joint municipal courts or central municipal court and the dissolution of courts is ultimately up to the assignment judge, his review, and the AOC as well. So that's the stage where the process is at the moment.
But it's still under review, so it could reverse or it might not reverse.
It could be either approved or rejected. At that point, a decision would have to be made, but it's my understanding it's still under review.
But he already rejected it, so
He didn't officially reject it. He just has not approved it.
he has not approved it.
It's still under review. The
Yes.
plan, Hamilton's plan, is still being reviewed by the judge.
That's correct.
Because I just wanted for the record, he approved the Lang City and Pleasantville. I mean, it's in the newspaper,
To my knowledge, that's correct.
right? So I didn't understand why he approved them and didn't approve Hamilton Township. That was my issue.
Our understanding ultimately comes down to feasibility, and he's still collecting all the information to be able to report back to the stakeholders. So that's what we're waiting on at this point.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Cheek? Yes. Mr. Laws?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale?
Yes.
Dr. Witherspoon?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes. Reports, Mr. Administrator.
Last Wednesday, we met up, I reported at the last meeting that we were going to meet up at the powerhouse to have a demonstration on the new floodgates there. Happy to report that they are fully operational at this time, so the first phase of the dam replacement is complete. They plan on starting the spillway project sometime late summer, late August, early September.
So they're still on schedule, original schedule. Good,
Yes.
very good. Anything else?
That's it.
Mr. Solicitor.
Nothing for me. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Engineer?
Just quickly, the Leapy Field roof is almost complete. They're going to be tar papering it this week, and then shingles should start in the next week or so. I'd like to thank the police department for finding someone that actually was out there and started operating a machinery and on the property. And the police department found this person, these people, and it saved. Hopefully, it deters people because they could have damaged the building, and it really would have been unfortunate for both, the township and the contractor. So I wanted to thank the police for finding those people.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Township Committee, Dr. Witherspoon.
I don't have a report, but I do want to say that I saw in the report that there was going to be an Employee Appreciation Day in May. I thought that was very nice, for morale. And I see that there's going to be, on March the 23rd, a pile extravaganza at the head school from 12 to 2. I just wanted to make mention of that because it was inside of the report. That's all I had to report.
Okay, thank you. Committeeman Patali.
Second annual Gail Luderitz PTA basket auction, Saturday, March 2nd, 6 p.m. at the Davie School, correct? Doors open at 4:30, so you can go in there and look at all the baskets. Last year, how many baskets were there? 196 baskets. Really had a good time. A lot of people, a lot of fun. And last year they raised $17,000 for the PTA. And that money is used to rent buses to take kids on trips, to pay for the trips, because obviously the money's just not there like it used to be. So this is what gets those kids out to see the world other than their school. So, like I said, it was a really good time. There's going to be a lot of baskets. There's a lot of great things you can win there, and really had a good time. And this year it's named after Gail Luderitz, who unfortunately we lost last year in April, and she was the go-to person for anything that had to do with the schools. I mean, you could, if somebody had a question about how to get kids into school or anything, you pick up the phone, you call Gail, and she was there. And she really loved all the kids. Every kid in this town she loved. And unfortunately, we lost her too soon. And it's really nice to see that the PTA and the school agreed to name this function after her. So that's really, really nice. Also, I'd like to congratulate ACCC and their baseball team for getting their own baseball field. I think that's really nice. It could draw some more kids to ACCC. So having their own field, I think, will be a really good thing. And maybe some of the younger kids in town that play baseball can go over there and catch a game, watch some college baseball. They currently play down at the old stadium in Atlantic City. What's it called? Surf Stadium. And it's that really they weren't able to call that home. They had to drive all the way out there. So really nice to see them, and I'm happy to see the college investing in themselves and in our town. So that's a really, really good thing. Other than that, that's really all I have to say. Reagan, I'll see you soon. Maddie, miss you, love you, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you. Committeeman Laws.
Okay, my turn.
Yeah, twist it up a little.
Had a great meeting with a couple of nonprofits this week, actually last week. One was A Wish, Agape Water International Safe Haven. They're looking to acquire a building to help women who have been, displaced, battered, with children, and so on and so forth. But really interesting concepts as to how they wish to deal with it. The director, Ms. Davis, it's supposed to have been an hour meeting, which turned into a 3-hour meeting with some local pastors who've decided to give them their help. And I told them that we do whatever we can to help the citizens of Hamilton Township in that area also. So just happy to be, to see our citizens, our, people in our community wanting to help people in our community. If you look at some of our neighboring towns like Atlantic City and, Pleasantville and some of the other areas, there's a lot of funding. There's a lot of money goes into those townships with programs and stuff like that. We don't generally get that out here in Hamilton Township. So to see someone actually, carrying that load for us is helpful. And I directed them to our police department. Told them to reach out to Chief Sambrone in order to set up some type of relationship where they could get calls anytime there's a issue. I think Avanzar has been a big organization in this township that does a similar thing, but they handle, not the township, but they handle the entire county. And they're big and they do a lot of great things. This is kind of a breakaway piece of that. So I'm really excited about that. Also met with Reverend Dawson this weekend, who's hoping to develop a church here. He does a lot of community events. He lives here in our township. And he has a church down in Woodbine right now. They're doing some pretty great things. Believe it or not, what he's done in the community there has turned that community around tremendously. So I'd love to see that happen with our youth in Hamilton Township. He's got the kids involved in the church pretty heavy, and it keeps them out of, harm's way and keeps them out of trouble. So I'm just very happy to report that those two organizations are excited about doing some things here in Hamilton Township.
Thank you. Committeeman Cheek.
Thank you. I'm batting cleanup today, following Mr. Watkins and Brett around. I too was at Leapy Field, and like he reported, to be under roof hopefully by next week. And anyone in construction, if you're under roof in February, that's huge for the rest of the fit out come this spring. So that was nice to see. I also went to the powerhouse to see the operation of the new gates and whatnot. And very, very impressive. The whole operation was very impressive. And someone in construction, as long as I have, it was just really neat to see. I've never seen anything like that. And it was very enjoyable. So and that's my report.
Thank you. I have nothing to report, so I'm just going to move to public comment. Anybody in the public like to speak? Go right ahead. Step up to the mic.
Hi, real quick. Bill Chrisman, 539 Pine Needle Drive, and I'm also your representative to the Great Egg Harbor River Council. And I'd like to thank you for passing the resolution supporting this. And though it doesn't explain exactly what it is, but I'd like to take a moment to explain to you what you approved. Okay? And I'd like to thank Brett for spending the time with Fred Akers to get this to you. It's really important. As we know, what we've seen over the last couple of years, especially out in Ohio with the Palestine train accident, it was brought to our attention at the River Council, which we are one. Hamilton Township is one of 13 municipalities in the Great Egg Harbor Water Shed. It starts up in Berlin, goes all the way down to Summers Point. Though we don't have that many train crossings or over the river crossings here in our township. There are many crossings in the other 12 municipalities. And it was brought to our attention about a year ago from Upper Township to the Great Egg Harbor River Council. And it was asked, because if you go down Route 50 going down south, you'll all see the train bridges going over Great Cedar Creek and over Tuckahoe River. There's quite a few of them, and they're not in real good shape. And questions have arisen since the Palestine accident from fire departments wanting to know, well, there are some trains going over these rivers and in our townships. How do we know what the trains that we see are carrying? So they brought that to us to ask us, do we know, being we're a federally funded National Park Service committee, the Great Egg Harbor River Council, do we know about the trains? So we inquired to find out what exactly is involved with these trains. And we were surprised to learn, man, there's very little information and very little demand put on these train carrying companies to let us know what they're carrying. So we went to the state of New Jersey, and they said, well, basically, we have some rules where if you see a train car, it'll say, is it toxic or not? Okay, it's toxic or it's not toxic. Well, that kind of leaves a lot to think about, okay? If a train were in an accident, either at a train crossing, like you said, Dr. Witherspoon, or one of these bridges maybe fails and a train goes into Tuckahoe River, how do we know what is in that train car? Mm-hmm. We really don't. So we then found out from the state that it's up to each municipality to come up with an ordinance or find out and set their own standards of how they want to address this with the train companies, which are private and go through their municipality. So we contacted train companies, and they really didn't, they kind of told us, go pound sand. It's really none of your business what we're carrying. Well, it is. It really is. Not that we care what they're carrying, but we really want to know if there were an accident or a tragedy,
Sure.
how do our responders respond to it? And are they able to? Okay? And even though the train may be marked as non-toxic, we don't know what's in those train cars. We don't know. So, as a river council, we got together with all the representatives of the 13 municipalities, including us, and we came up with a resolution that will fit each municipality, and we can go and register with the state. So as you said, we will know. These train companies, this will force them to let us know what it is what materials are they carrying through our municipalities. And we need to know that. It's for the safety of everyone. And I think it's really important. And even though it doesn't affect us as much as it does Upper Township, and it doesn't up in Berlin, and it doesn't further up. If there would be a tragedy 10 miles out of our community, that water would come down to us. So we'd want to know how to deal with it also. So I want to congratulate you. Thank you again, Brett, for your time you put in with Fred. Fred would be here tonight, but he had some surgery on his shoulder, and he's not in real good shape. So Denise and I, as your representatives, would like to thank you. And this is really an important thing. It's more than just what it says written there. But it's protection, I think, our watershed, and as human beings, we need to know what's going in for better protection of the public. So thank you again very much.
Thank you.
Thanks
for bringing it to our attention. So we appreciate it. Anyone else in the public like to speak?
I'll keep it short. We wanted to thank, the school board would like to thank you guys again for your support in speaking and getting some of our actions out there, so we appreciate it. And two things came from our last meeting. One is that we would like to establish a quarterly update, a formal presentation to this body on what we're doing, and report on some of our numbers, such as the HIB, which is a bullying numbers, because still there's a lot of perception that there's still a lot of fights in our schools. And social media is not helping it. The last one, I think it was last weekend or 2 weekends ago, there was a dance, and it was reported that one of our teachers got his leg broken, and the school is going to be closed for 2 days. 2 weeks. Was it 2 weeks? Or 2 weeks, I think. the reality was that there was some kid got shoved by the bathroom, and as the teacher was responding out there, he, I guess, slipped on his own foot and just stumbled, didn't fall over, didn't break a leg. So we want to help try to get rid of some of that misnomer, and then in full disclosure, get our numbers. I mean, the numbers, if you come to our school board, you can see the numbers because we present them, but use this platform to get them out to a wider audience, along with anything else you guys would like to hear about. And then additionally, we'd like to also offer and extend what we did for Mr. Laws, and that was to take you guys on a tour of the schools, because it's, Bobby Laws has been there quite a bit, and he hadn't been in the buildings for a few years, and from his perspective, it's changed a ton. And so we'd like to extend that to you guys as well, and keep it more ad hoc than a formal date where, the concern about us trying to, make sure we only have good kids in the hallways and stuff like that. It was kind of, I was late to a meeting, and the superintendent took around the building, and so it wasn't planned, and he got to see what it was really like in Davies. Because we do agree 2 years ago it was an issue, and we've worked very hard for the last 2 years cleaning up the hallways with lots of different activities, including changing out a lot of administration. And we'd like to show you the results of that, and help have you guys help us just get rid of some of the rumors that it's still a combat zone, if you will.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to say thank you. I know at our last meeting I mentioned that I love the fact that you come in and actually report to us. The fact that you're willing to to do that, that's impressive. We've never had that. And I think to your point, it's important to dispel myths. At least here you have a platform where you can reach the masses. I know you go to a school board meeting and it's probably crickets. It's probably not a whole lot. But a lot of people want to complain, but they don't show up, when there's meetings. I like to say that your willingness to come in and actually report to us, and you've been doing it on your own. But I want to applaud you and the school board and your superintendent. What a great job you guys are doing. And I think what you guys are doing there can actually work outside of the school also, and how we work with our children and how we address our kids in the community. So,
yeah, and we're continuing trying to extend into the community, and
thank you.
We're looking for any opportunities that we can do that, and so forth. So I wanted to say thank you, and just for your awareness, last month we reported we had, in the month of January, we had one fight across all the schools.
Mm-hmm.
So even though people said that we had, I think, 7 fights the other day, it was actually Oakcrest that had the fights.
Yes.
And we moved our buses around just to what the police department had suggested, because there was a continued presence and escalations in some of the neighborhoods that we were going to have to drop kids off in. So we held our buses a little bit longer just so the police could do their job and we weren't injecting more kids into a potential problem. And that was interpreted as there was a fight in our school and there was guns and knives and all kinds of crazy stuff. So we're never going to get rid of the rumors, but if we can expose more light on it and reach to more of an audience, we'd like to be able to do that. And we'd like to use your platform if possible. So.
Social media is always much more exciting than real life.
Yeah,
I agree. I don't understand why or how that happens.
I missed,
but
and I guess there was a big
yeah.
fight, teachers breaking their legs. So.
Yeah, and I think it's a good idea that, at least this is an opportunity that people can, not only people that are here, but the people that watch the videos can understand what's really going on. And I'm sure there's a lot of parents out there that are concerned and, they're hearing that this is going on in the schools when it's not true. But unfortunately, Facebook, if it's on Facebook, it's true.
Facebook, we even have we have parents or people that say they are parents, and then they say that their child said there was a fight, and the first thing we do is we look up in our Rolodex to see if because we found that 75% of them don't even have kids. They don't even live in our state. And for whatever reason, they cannot find it fun to start rumors like that. So
yeah.
Wow.
And we have pretty good relationships with most of these people that own these particular pages, and then we can get them removed when we find there's truly misinformation. So
Yeah. Sad, but
yeah, it's
unfortunately, it's true.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Nelson.
Dr. Nelson, may I ask one question real quick? To your point about the relationships you guys have with the social media companies, does that give you guys the the ability to see what's happening with kids and like that are doing the bullying and stuff like that, and cyberbullying and stuff? Does that give you guys any insight?
Yeah, so we know the moderators. That's about as far as it goes.
Are you allowed
So
to talk
we'll
about
reach
that
out to them
publicly?
and say, hey, can you remove this post? We used to have some pages, including the PTA,
Okay,
but it was a full-time job to moderate it,
okay.
and it became so negative, we shut it down.
All right.
And we had thousands of followers.
Wow.
Which of most of them weren't even in our township, so. We found that it was more negative, doing more damage than good, so we shut it down for that reason. But yeah, the only interaction we have is with the moderators and asking them favors to remove a thread because it's causing harm versus significant.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you again. Anyone else from the public like to speak?
Frank Shainstein, member of the Atlantic County Board of Agriculture and New Jersey Farm Bureau. We would like to thank you for your support of Mr. Berner's resolution. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anyone else?
Make a motion to close public comment.
Second. Motion second. Any questions, concerns? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. We will now adjourn to executive session with the proper motion.
Mayor,
Yes.
I just wanted to say what an excellent job that the Township Tax Collector's Annual Report was.
Oh, okay.
I meant to mention that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Phenomenal job.
It was a phenomenal job. I just wanted to make sure I said that for the record.
Okay. We need a motion to adjourn to executive session. We will not be coming back out? Right. Okay. We have a motion?
So
I'll make the
moved.
motion.
Second? Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it.